The Turkish president-elect Recep Tayyip Erdoğan was sworn in for his third term in office after winning the presidential runoff election last week. In India, more than 280 people were killed and over 1,000 injured in a major train accident in Balasore district. And Senegalese armed forces were deployed in Dakar following an outbreak of violence after opposition politician and presidential candidate Ousmane Sonko was sentenced to prison. From the headquarters of teleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. On Saturday, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan was sworn in for his third term in office after winning the presidential runoff election last week. The sworn-in ceremony began at 3 p.m. local time at the Grand National Assembly in Ankara. As scheduled, the Nationalist Movement Party leader Devlet Bahçeli, as acting president of the Turkey's Grand National Assembly, presented Erdogan with his official oath of office. The event was attended by heads of state and governments, ministers, and other representatives from more than 78 countries around the world, including Venezuela's President Nicolás Maduro, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Azerbaijan's President İlham Aliyev, and Armenia's Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan.
Anlatmış ki Galatasaray takımının yapacağı tek şey doğru yerde, doğru zamanda bulunan Icardi'ye oraya o topu doğru toplar atmak. Aynen o toplar fazlasıyla atıldı. Hocam Ankara'ya gidelim. Arkadaşımız Oğuzcan Oğuz orada. Saat çevresinde oradaki atmosferi bir alalım. Ardından da devam edelim. Oğuzcan maç önünde çok daha coşkulu bir kalabalık vardı. Şu anda biliyorum merkez statta daha...
The President Erdogan highlighted that he will abide by the Constitution and the laws of the secular republic.
I will abide by the Constitution, the rule of law, democracy, Atatürk's principles and reforms, and the secular republic principle. I will not deviate from the ideal of everyone to benefit from human rights and fundamental freedoms and peace and welfare of the nation, in the understanding of national solidarity and justice, that I will work with all my strength to protect and glorify the repute and honor of the Republic of Turkey and to fulfill my duty with impartiality.
And after the swearing ceremony, President Erdogan visited the Atatürk's mausoleum to pay respects to the nation's founder Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. At the mausoleum, the Turkish president laid a wreath at the foot of the monument to the nation's founder. The visit had a special symbolic significance since it conveyed a message of continuation of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's ideas. After the visit to the mausoleum, the president went to the palace complex for the official inauguration ceremony, attended by more than 70 heads of state and governments and ministers.
Elections, to me, with a ratio of 52.58%, our nation has shown to me kindness, and we feel the bliss of serving our nation for 5 more years. With this, the presidential election, the presidential executive system has taken a vote of confidence from our people. For the next 5 years to come, we will work relentlessly to make our century of Turkey come true.
The head of state pointed out that he will continue glorifying the nation and helping the people.
Yani biraz önce senin de söylediğin gibi Mario Gomez de geldiği zaman buraya kariyerli bir oyuncuydu ama bu tarz oyuncuların bizim ülkemizde çıkış yapma sebeplerinin en temel şeyi oralarda var olamadıkları için veyahut da bir düşüş yaşadıkları için.
After the swearing-in ceremony at the parliament, the Turkish president moved to the presidential complex in Ankara, where he was accompanied by the heads of state and governments and other international delegations. During his speech, Recep Tayyip Erdoğan stressed that his government will continue to produce works and services for Turkey. Erdoğan indicated that his administration will embrace all 85 million citizens, regardless of their political views, origins, creeds, or religions. By the end end of the day, the Turkish president is expected to host a dinner in honor of the guests at the Kankaya mansion and then announce the new members of the cabinet. The 69-year-old president begins his new 5-year term amid a host of domestic challenges ahead, including a battered economy, pressure for the repatriation of millions of Syrian refugees, and the need to rebuild the nation after a devastating earthquake in February that killed 50,000 people and leveled entire cities in the south of the country. During his oath-taking speech, Erdogan pledged to protect the existence and the independence of the state and to abide by the constitution and the laws of the secular republic.
I would like to state that I'm grateful to God for He has blessed us with the chance of serving Turkey and the Turkish nation for 5 more years. With their votes, with their kindness and support, my nation, all members of my nation, I would like to extend my gratitude to each and every one of them.
President Erdogan highlighted that in this new period, the Turkish government should learn from mistakes that committed in the past in order to build a better future.
From the past, from the mistakes of the past, we should draw lessons and be exerting efforts to build the future. In the post-election period, we have always made our accounts and have had a tradition to renew itself, to update itself, tackling our mistakes, our shortcomings, further strengthening what we have been resilient about. We have made it to this very day, and following every election, we opened a new page.
Let's take a short break. But remember, you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. More than 700 cholera-related fatalities and about 44,000 people suspected with the infection have been reported in Haiti after the disease outbreak declared in October 2022. According to the last official report by the Haitian Ministry of Public Health, at least 40,000 people have been hospitalized as possible cases of cholera. To date, more than 2,800 cases have been confirmed. According to the report, the average age of those hospitalized is 17 years old. However, the most notorious incidence is among children between 1 and 9 years old, who total almost 16,000 suspected cases. In the midst of the situation, the United Nations also said that Haiti to its list of hunger hotspots, along with Sudan and the Sahel, due to the increase in the level of famine alert among the population. And the Colombian government set up a dialogue table in prison of La Paz in the city of Itagüí with armed groups from Medellin and Aburrá Valley. The Medellin dialogue took place on Friday with the attendance of more than 14,000 armed men. The representatives of the armed groups expressed their commitment with the national government's total peace policy and their willingness to stop urban violence. The national government delegation and the illegal armed groups will build an agenda to advance in the consolidation of the peace process in the country. And the president of Ecuador, Guillermo Lasso, announced on Friday that he will not run for the early elections on August 20th. From the Carondelet Palace, Lasso said he will not accept the request of the political party Creating Opportunities to run the extraordinary elections where the Ecuadorians will elect the heads of the executive and the legislators. Shortly after his death cross decree, which dissolved the National Assembly and brought forward the general elections, Lasso told the U.S. newspaper The Washington Post that he will not be a candidate. Days later, his Minister of Government, Henry Cucalón, hinted to the local media that the head of state was considering the possibility of his re-election. According to a survey by the company's Perfiles de Opinión, a pollster, only 14% of Ecuadorians support the president's administration.
After deep reflection, I would like to announce that I will not accept the nomination for the presidency of the Republic in the coming August elections. I want to be clear. I will not accept the nomination as a candidate for the presidency of the Republic in the next elections on August the 20th.
Argentina and China agreed to renew for 3 more years the local currency exchange mechanisms known as swap. The agreement was signed by the president of the Argentinian Central Bank, Miguel Ángel Pese, after a meeting with the president of the People's Bank of China, Xi Kang. The swap agreement includes the exchange of national currencies as a reinforcement of international reserves for $19 billion and a special reactivation for $10 billion to offset exchange market operations. This deal is part of the agreements signed between both countries during the visit of an Argentinian government delegation to Beijing, headed by the Minister of Economy, Sergio Massa. And teleSUR English continues to grow. You can now tune in from 33 different African countries using StoreSat. Dial 461 and enjoy our Latin American alternative broadcast. One final short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. The death toll of Friday's multiple train crash in India has risen to more than 280 people, while over 1,000 are reported injured. According to the Indian Minister of Railways, Ashwini Vaishnaw, a high-level inquiry has been ordered into the collision to understand what caused the was expected to rise further as many passengers are thought to be pinned under the train cars. India's extensive rail network, one of the largest in the world, was built more than 160 years ago under the British colonial rule. Nowadays, the network runs about 11,000 trains every day, over 67,000 miles of tracks. It suffers from aging infrastructure and poor maintenance, factors after cited in incidents. And the outbreak of violence in Senegal after opposition politician and presidential candidate Ousmane Sonko was sentenced to 2 years in jail has left at least 10 people dead. An army spokesperson said another person was killed on Friday in the southwestern town of Cape Skirring after 9 people died on Thursday. Protests continued on yesterday, with demonstrators erecting barricades using burning tires and vehicles while police cracked down with tear gas. The protests began on Thursday following the sentences of the opposition leader Ousmane Sonko to 2 years in prison for corruption of minors. Known for his anti-system discourse, the leaders criticized bad governance, corruption, and French neocolonialism. And the UN Security Council extends for just 6 months the United Nations political mission in Sudan after UN envoy Volker Perthes was accused by Sudan's army chief of stoking the worsening civil conflict. In a short resolution, the Council unanimously agreed to extend until December 3rd, 2023, the UN Integrated Transition Assistance Mission in Sudan, a limited duration that underscores the delicate situation in the country.
This decision was born out of a firm belief that it is the Security Council's responsibility to send a clear message on what is at stake if a permanent ceasefire arrangement is not reached. We support the renewal of the UNITAM's mandate because we seek to maintain a fully fledged United Nations presence in Sudan. This is crucial at this time, especially considering the vital role that UNITAMS plays in engaging with other stakeholders and coordinating humanitarian assistance. The press statement
In Zimbabwe, the parliament enacted a new law that criminalizes acts that harm the country's sovereignty and national interest. The law was approved hours after the government announced national elections for next August 23rd. Critics claim that the new measure is aimed at silencing dissident voices in the run-up to the elections. However, legislators indicate that the law seeks to encourage the population to be more patriotic. 80-year-old Emerson Mnangagwa, who replaced strongman ruler Robert Mugabe in 2017 after a military-led coup, is seeking a second term in August. His main challenger is Nelson Chimiza, a 45-year-old lawyer and pastor who leads the recently formed Citizens Coalition for Change party. Now we move on to other topics. A sandstorm blew over the Suez Canal, a vital route for oil, natural gas, and cargo for Egypt's main sources of foreign exchange. The event did not report interruptions on the waterway and was less intense in Cairo. 2 Red Sea ports along the Suez Canal were also closed on Thursday, with wind gusts of more than 50 kilometers per hour and waves of more than 4 meters. The Ministry of Health advised residents to wear masks and limit their outings. Sandstorms are sweeping across much of the country, reporting 1 death and 5 injuries so far. On Friday, Japanese authorities urged to evacuate several locations in central and western Japan due to torrential rains caused by the tropical storm Mawar. Authorities called on more than 540,000 people in Aiki department to evacuate at-risk areas due to the effects of the rains. The government urged citizens to be on alert for the next 3 days regarding the risk of landslides, floods, and rising rivers. In this context, it was also reported that train traffic will be suspended between the cities of Tokyo and Osaka, and that more than 260 flights were cancelled due to the weather conditions. And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.